Okay, we are going to learn about solving systems using elimination. So last week we solved systems using substitution. So we are going to use elimination now. The reason substitution worked was because we had one equation solved for a variable, and then we were able to plug it in and then solve for another one. This one, we had to end up solving it before we can even do substitution. But what we're going to learn today is that this one probably could have been easily solved using elimination instead. So it's just another way of solving systems. So let's look at our first example. So we have 2x plus 3y equals 5, and then negative 2x plus y equals 3. So the instructions are, look to see if you can add the equations to easily eliminate one of the variables. So what we're going to do is we are going to add these, like that. And so look at the column. See how the x's are on top of each other, y's are on top of each other, and then equals is on top of each other, and then the numbers is on top of each other. So that's how you want it set up. So look at the x's. 2x, and then a negative 2x. Those cancel each other out. They zero each other out, and that's what you want. That becomes 0x. So then we would add our y's. We have 3y and then another y. But don't forget that this is an understood 1. So we have 3y plus 1y is 4y. And then 5 plus 3 is 8. So now we're able to solve for the y variable. X is gone, so we just have one variable we're solving for. So we divide by 4. Y equals 2. So we have one of the variables solved. Hardest part is getting that one variable solved, but then all you got to do is plug it in to find the other variable. So step 2 down here says solve for remaining variable, which we already did. Plug answer into original equations to solve for the other. So you can pick the top one or the bottom one to sub in the y is 2. I would pick the top one, 2x plus 3y equals 5. And the reason is simple numbers, there's no negatives. So I just want to pick the easier one to substitute it into. So it's 2x plus 3y equals 5. I'm going to substitute in that 2 for y. So it's 2x plus 3 times 2 equals 5. We're going to solve it out. So it's really 2x plus 6 equals 5. I'm going to solve that for x. So just a normal equation we solve. So minus 6, 2x equals 5 minus 6. It's negative 1. And we divide by 2. So x equals negative 1 over 2. So we have the x value, we have the y value. So our solution is x, comma, y. So negative half, comma, 2. That is our solution. So our first example that we did, we were able to simplify the x out, and that left us with solving for one variable. Then we plug that back in. All right, let's go to example 2. 8x minus 6y equals negative 20. Okay, so let's look down the columns at the x. I have 8x and negative 16x. Those aren't the same. They're not opposites. I mean, one of them was positive, one was negative. And then I have negative 6y and 7y. Those aren't opposites. So I look and see what can I easily do to either one or both equations to make the x's or the y's cancel? So look at 8 and look at negative 16. Look at the x's. If I multiply 8 times 2, I would get positive 16, which is the opposite. So for this equation, I want this to be 16. That way that they're opposites. This one's a negative 16. So all I would have to do is multiply it times 2. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to bring it down here. So 2 times 8 is 16x. I also need to multiply it times the negative 6 and the negative 20. You can't just do it times the first one. It has to be times the whole thing. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Same rule applies. So 2 times negative 6 is negative 12y. And then 2 times negative 20 is negative 40. So now I'm going to eliminate the x's because they are opposites of each other. So see how I have negative 16x and positive 16x? That becomes 0. So I can mark it out. Now all I have is y, so I'm going to add those and then solve for y. 7y minus 12y. 7 minus 12. It's negative 5y. And then 30 minus 40. Negative 10. And then solve this by dividing. Put your line down your equal sign. Y equals 2. Okay, so we have the y value. Now we need to get the x value. So you plug in the y value in and solve for x. So now I look at the top one or the bottom one to find out which one would be easier to solve for. So 8x minus 6y equals negative 20. Those are smaller numbers than the second equation. The second equation has negative 16. I don't want to do that one. So I'm going to plug it into the 8x minus 6y equals negative 20. So I'm going to plug in the y equals 2. So 8x minus 6 times 2 equals negative 20. So 8x minus 12 equals negative 20. So we're just solving it. So plus 12. 8x equals negative 8. Divide by 8. X equals negative 1. So once you have the x and the y value, you can write your answer in the ordered pair. X, comma, y. Okay, go to example 3. Okay, look at our x's. 11, negative 11, and negative 5. And then our y's, negative 4, negative 5. So I want to be able to cancel one of them out, either x's or y's. So we're going to have to do a little bit more work because I can't multiply 5 by something to get 11, or 5 by something to get 4, or 4 by something to get 5. So I've got to actually multiply both equations by a number. So it depends on what you want. So 11 and 5, you would look at like least common multiples. Y'all remember what multiples are? Like you're skip counting that number. So like 5 10, 15, you know, like that. And then 11 would be 11, 22, 33, and so on. And then 4s and 5s, you can skip count those. So lots of different ways of doing it. But I think 4 and 5 would be easier. Because what could I multiply 4 by to get something that's similar to a multiple of 5? 5? Because I would want 20. So here I'm going to say I want this to be, let's say, positive 20. So what am I going to multiply everything by here? Not just 5, but negative 5. And then this one, I want this one to be negative 20 because they have to be opposites. So what am I going to multiply this by in order for negative 5 to turn into negative 20? Yeah, 4. So I actually have to multiply both. So I'm going to do that here. So we'll multiply negative 5 times negative 11. So 55x. And then negative 5 times negative 4. 20y. And then negative 5 times 36. Negative 5 times 36. Negative 180. Okay, so I multiplied the whole first equation by negative 5. Now I need to multiply the whole second equation by positive 4. So 4 times negative 5. Negative 20x. And then 4 times negative 5. Again. So plus 20, or negative, sorry. It'd be minus. Minus 20y, which is what we want, remember. And then 4 times 10. 40. So I'm going to add these up. Remember we wanted the y's to cancel out? I have a 20y and a minus 20y. So those do cancel out. So that's good. Okay, so 55x minus 20x. Do the math. 35x equals negative 180 plus 40. Negative 180 plus 40. Negative 140. And then my final step would be divide by 35. So x equals negative 140 divided by 35. Negative what? 4. Okay, but we have to find out what y is now. So which equation would you want to use? The top one or the bottom one? And you always go back to the original to plug it in. Would you rather deal with big numbers or smaller numbers? I'd rather deal with smaller. So I'm going to use this equation. So negative 5 times negative 4, because that's the x, minus 5y equals 10. Okay, we need to solve it out. Negative 5 times negative 4. Negative 5 times negative 4. 20. So I'm going to rewrite the rest of the equation. Minus 20 on both sides. negative 5y equals 10 minus 20. Negative 10. And then divide by negative 5. Y equals negative 10 divided by negative 5. 2. So our final answer is the x comma y. So negative 4 comma 2. We solved for x first. We solved for x. Yeah, and then we solved for the y. Okay. Okay, the last question on our notes. It says find the value of two numbers if their sum is 12 and their difference is 4. What could we name the two numbers? Huh? Possibly. Let's just call them a variable. What about just x and y? Or a and b? So we need to write the equations. The sum is 12. So how do we write that? X plus y equals 12. And then what about difference? How would we write that? X minus y is, what does it say? 4. Okay. So then we would need to see if we can solve the system. Aren't the y's already the same, but opposites? So we don't have to multiply anything. So this is going back to like what our original problem would be. So y minus y, 0. 1x plus 1x is 2x. 12 plus 4, 16. Divide by 2, x equals 8. So if one of the numbers is 8, we want it to have a sum of 2. So what's the other number going to be? 8 and, what do y'all say? 4, because 8 plus 4 is 12, and 8 minus 4 is 4. 8 and 4 are two numbers. All right, bye.